343 finally dropped a preview for Halo Infinite Season 2, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit concerned. We're going to be talking about all of that and more in today's video. Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. As I alluded to in the intro, 343 dropped their Halo Infinite update for March 2022. We got our first look at Season 2. There's a lot of really cool stuff in this document. It looks like Season 2 stands to bring some new cool content and features to Halo Infinite, but overall, I am left very worried about the state of the game and whether Halo Infinite, to be frank, is going to make it. I'm going to go over and analyze this document with you guys, but I'm going to preface my analysis by saying I've been very concerned about Halo Infinite for a while now. I covered that in a prior video earlier last week. The population numbers aren't good, and I feel like the promise of a live service game has not been delivered whatsoever. But with that being said, let's actually take a look at the document, and we're going to do this in the order it's presented. And the very first thing the document focuses on is something that I'm totally behind. They call this Priority Zero. This is basically the promise that 343 is going to prioritize employee well-being before anything else. That their priority is to deliver a healthy work-life balance, and that this means that content might come slower, but that overall development should be more sustainable. Now, I've heard that Halo 5 really burnt out a lot of 343's developers. They had a pretty insane development pace with that game, and I just want to say, obviously, that a game is less important than the health of the people working on it. At the end of the day, Halo Infinite is a computer game. These are real-life people working on it. I'm fully behind Priority Zero, and I'm glad that they haven't caved to the pressure to work their poor developers down to the bones. We'll be coming back to this in a bit when we talk about the Season 2 offerings, but I do also just want to mention one thing that people want out of 343 is active communication. This is supposed to be a live service game. Halo Infinite was meant to be the platform for the next 10 years, and people have been spending their money on a game that is supposed to be vibrant and receiving content. Now, I don't think it's reasonable to launch Halo Infinite in its bare bones state and then double the time to Season 2 without giving any sort of real roadmap. This is definitely a good first step, but active communication is definitely possible even if you're not locking in dates without drastically increasing the workload on devs and while still maintaining a work-life balance. We'll talk more about this later, but just generally, of course, Priority Zero is great, and I'm definitely glad that this is the philosophy that 343 is taking. The rest of the update is laid out in a priority hierarchy, with, of course, the first priority being the most important. Priority 1 is what they call addressing critical issues. I'm going to just sort of gloss over this section because, to be honest, it's not the sexy stuff you guys are interested in. Basically, this says that they are working hard to fix the critical technical issues that are still sometimes plaguing people playing Halo Infinite. This is everything from improving the anti-cheat to getting the back-end stuff working on features that aren't public-facing yet, to some of the more stuff you'd see in technical hotfixes. Again, all of that linked down in the description if you want to fully peruse that section yourself. I think the thing you guys are going to be mostly interested, though, is the second priority that 343 is focusing on, and that is shipping Season 2. This is the really important stuff. This is why I clicked on the link. So the section starts by saying if you check your Season 1 Battle Pass, you'll see that Season 1 ends on May 2nd, and that's because Season 2 launches May 3rd. Now, I'm a little concerned about that. The game is in a very poor state right now when it comes to population. As I mentioned, especially given the fact that it only launched a few months ago, I'm a little concerned to see where it's going to be in a month or two, but whatever. The Season 2 theme is called Lone Wolves, and it's because it's going to be focused largely on lone wolf Spartans. These are Spec Ops Spartans, usually deep behind enemy lines, and I think that offers a lot of really cool options when it comes to armor customization and more. We can see these two Spartans that they've presented here in concept art. They have highly bespoke armor, which makes a lot of sense. If you're operating behind enemy lines without any support, your armor is going to be fully customized to fit your mission profile. I'm really excited to see what we get in terms of armor customization into Season 2. These two Spartans here specifically are Spartans Eklund and Din, and one thing that I find really interesting is that it says we'll be diving more into their story through a mix of cinematics, story-themed events, battle pass items, and more. So when it talks about battle pass items, presumably that's unlocking pieces of their armor. What I'm most mostly interested is in cinematics and story-themed events. I do think that Halo Infinite seasons could benefit from two things. One, being highly themed like we're seeing here. If you look at games like Fortnite or Apex, they go into new dramatic themes with each season, which really changes how the game feels and plays. Halo Infinite would do a great job to embrace that, but it needs to be more than just new armors. If you look at Fortnite, for example, the map is changed every season, and that's key. Helps the game feel vibrant. Cinematics definitely play into that. I'm wondering what story-themed events could be. Now, I'm not expecting them to go full Destiny style with raids or anything like that, but introducing new elements of gameplay into multiplayer would definitely be a very interesting way to keep people coming back. I won't speculate too much because I could be overestimating what's going to be in Season 2, as we'll get to in a minute, but we also get a cool look at one of the upcoming Fracture armor sets. Now, if you follow Halo leaks, you've probably seen this sort of Fallout / Bioshock looking armor. My guess is that this is probably Spartan armor made by insurrectionists or made by civilians, basically trying to ape the technology they've captured. Not something I think I would personally rock, but it could add some cool variety to the game. But all of the themes and new armor and everything else is essentially window dressing for Halo, and the real thing that we need in Season 2 is content. What is going to be the big draw that brings people back to the game? And this is where I get very, very, very concerned, because I don't want to be accused of taking anything out of context, because I think this was probably purposefully ambiguously worded. I want to just read the next excerpt for you as is on the document. During Season 2, we will also be shipping playlist updates, balance changes, new modes, and maps. Specifically, one arena map named Catalyst and one BTB map named Breaker. The new modes include Last Spartan Standing, a free-for-all elimination mode, as well as another new mode named Land Grab, plus the return of an updated all-time favorite mode, King of the Hill. We will have a lot more to share about the Season 2 maps, modes, customization options, and narrative content in April as our marketing and promotional campaign kicks into high gear. Why am I concerned? Well, the way I read this is that we're getting one new arena map and one new BTB map for Season 2. It's just not enough. It just really is not enough. Now, the reason why I can't go fully all in and be disappointed or praising of 343 here is because, as I said, I do think this was left a bit purposefully ambiguous. In my past life, I was actually a lawyer, and one thing you do as a lawyer is what's called statutory interpretation, where you try to make sense out of wording that, like this, is left a little bit unclear. However, when I read this sentence, which says that they will be shipping new maps, specifically one arena map called Catalyst and one BTB map named Breaker, that tells me that this is a closed list of the things that we are getting for Season 2. The word specifically means that you're explaining something precisely. This can be contrasted with their use of including, which they used for game modes. New game modes including King of the Hill. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sound greedy, and I'm not greedy actually, I'm just a pragmatist. This is not enough content for Halo Infinite to be a live service game. One new arena map will not do it, especially because the game actually launched with one arena map, which isn't even in competitive rotation right now. So essentially, by adding a new map in, you're bringing us back to launch status, just with probably better balanced maps. Free-for-all elimination and King of the Hill are not new modes for Halo. This is stuff that shipped with Halo 3, Halo 4, and other games in the series. This is stuff that you could make in Forge, which shipped with Halo 3. This is stuff that should be easily accessible in custom games. You can't ship with fewer maps and far fewer game modes than a standard Halo experience, drip feed it to players, and call it a live service game. I understand that the developers are overworked, and I don't blame them whatsoever. What I blame is Xbox and Microsoft's management for making a game which apparently is not physically capable of being what it's supposed to be. Halo Infinite is not a live service game. It's gotten less updates than Halo 3, than Halo 4, or Halo 5. It's gotten less updates than Star Wars Squadrons, which explicitly was not a live service game, and it launched with less content than all of those games as well. I don't want the developers to work any harder. Like, seriously, don't have them work anymore. But if this is the best that Halo Infinite can put out, then the game is fundamentally flawed and will not succeed. People just expect more. Other other game studios can do it. I don't know why Halo Infinite can't. I don't know if it's because 343 refuses to use other studios for contract work, or whether it's because of the fabled Microsoft not actually hiring people on as employees, but it's not great. If we're only getting 2 maps, again, I'm not trying to be greedy. I'm trying to look at things practically based on what I know of what people expect from live service games and from what the competitors are offering. I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in playing the same game with very slight additions every 3 months until there is a decent baseline of content. Like, at this point, I feel like it just makes more sense to wait 2 years for Halo Infinite to have put out a few seasons worth of content, to gotten up to, say, a Halo 3 plus 2 DLCs worth of launch content, then maybe jump on. But right now, I don't know. It's just the setup doesn't make sense to me, and it's extremely frustrating. I'm trying not to get mad, and I'm honestly not mad. I'm going to pull out the old dad card. I'm just disappointed because the game is so good, but the way it's been handled is so bad. All right, so moving on though, the third priority is 343's work on campaign co-op, Forge, and Season 3. Unsurprisingly, co-op has been delayed. They're saying that networking co-op should be available before couch co-op. I personally don't even see how couch co-op will be possible. I think that they probably should have just not promised that. Like, Halo Infinite is a completely different beast compared to prior games. I don't know how an Xbox is supposed to render 2 different instances of the same game world if it's not an Xbox Series X, at least. Personally, to be frank, I've played through the campaign. I don't care about co-op. If you do, let me know what you think about this down in the comments. They also say, and I'll just read this out loud, "We are also making great progress on Forge. Indeed, we are already flighting Forge to a small group of community creators and working closely with them to ensure that all of you have a terrific experience creating, sharing, browsing, and playing Forge content. In the near term, we'll continue to privately flight Forge as we develop it, while also planning for public flights later this year. We still have the goal of shipping Forge with Season 3. I will say, based on some of the leaks we've seen, Forge does seem like it's going to be game-changing. I really wish the game could have launched with this. Forge plus a custom game browser would have assuaged a lot of the issues that people are having right now. It definitely seems like Halo Infinite is really suffering from a lot of time spent directionless, probably on campaign. This game had a lot of time to develop, but there was obviously at some point a big reset. It seems like they needed another year full of development, and then they would launch with a feature-complete game, but obviously they didn't have time for that, so we're getting the game now in piecemeal. The only problem is, with the way video games are nowadays, things can often be a flash in the pan. They get really popular for a moment, and if there's not sustained content, then they die. I think the best example I can think of this, besides Halo Infinite, is probably Fall Guys. That was a game that was exceptionally popular and that had a really fun gameplay loop, but was super slow in delivering new content and really fell off because of that. I don't know, I've honestly been getting more and more frustrated as I record this video. I don't feel like talking about Halo Infinite anymore. Hope you enjoyed this. If I'm wrong, if you think that I'm misreading this, or if I'm just too pessimistic, please let me know. It's just how I feel. I honestly hate to say this, and I'm finally kind of coming to terms with the fact that I think this game is probably going to be dead by the time Forge arrives. I don't think there's going to be enough sustained interest in the 5 months plus. Let's be honest, Forge probably won't make that Season 3 release date, and by that point the game is going to be a novelty, a 3rd or 4th class shooter, and it's just such a bummer. I'm especially bummed because today I had to make the tough decision to postpone the $10,000 creator tournament I was hoping to throw this month. We threw one earlier this year, and we were going to have another one in March. We were actually planning to have one each month for a year, but to be honest, there's just so little interest in the game right now that it didn't make financial sense, and I didn't feel like I could meet my sponsor obligations to have the game. So I guess maybe I'm letting that fact also sort of sour me right now, but I don't know. It just feels like such a missed opportunity. Till next time, guys, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.